I am not a cynic. I love you. He was my first black man.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Gordon, and I play Amaya on Blacking Up.
Hi, I'm Chiquita Melvin. I play Rekia on Black Enough.
So, as we get started, come on in, sit down. Thank you for joining us.
Well, it was important for me to take African American Studies courses and learn about the African diaspora because I feel like it's very important for, especially me as an African American woman, to understand my history and understand how far back this walk goes, and to learn about my ancestors and all those who have came before me and the path that they laid out for me, so that I can, as a woman, build and refine who I am supposed to be. And another thing about that is being able to take those elements and fulfill my purpose in this world. I feel like that's important for me to also share with other people as well, so that they can see that even though African people of African descent were taken for granted and put in this negative light, it is important to take that element and show that there is positivity to who we are, and we do have significance.
Yo. When she says Thursday, does she mean like I read it on Thursday? Or that like I read it for Thursday?
I think she means read it by Thursday.
When I first enrolled for my African American Studies class, I was so excited. And I think, honestly, deep down, I felt that we were probably starting with slavery. Mm-hmm. And then we started with some ancient African civilizations, and I was like, whoa. And it's interesting because in the series, you know, one of my lines is, we're starting in the 13th century, and I was like, yes. I remember that moment like, oh, wow, we're going way back. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is great. This is going to be intriguing to find out how this all began. And honestly, it took me down a rabbit hole of wanting to know even more. So starting with the ancient African civilizations, wanting to know more, and then reaching to the Americas. And I say Americas because we always hear about the African American experience, mm-hmm. but what about the Black Caribbean experience, right. The Afro-Latino experience, right. You know? And then being a Spanish major, I automatically was like, oh, wait a minute. I need to start researching more about like the Afro-Latino experience. And I was like, why isn't anybody talking about this? Mm-hmm. So it really just intrigued me to want to know more about, okay, yeah, so I want to know even more about these ancient civilizations, and then what happened thereafter when we were spread across the earth, you know? And so for me, it really became intrigue of wanting to know more, and then traveling, learning even more. And I would say, man, I was thinking about this, of how I think it'd be great to have African American Studies class, and then also like a study abroad component with the class, mm-hmm. to go to these other nations where Black people exist and see that, you know. And I spent time in Puerto Rico studying, and I was like, oh wow, like the Black Puerto Rican experience, what that's about. And you know, and while there, I met another friend. She's Dutch and she's Black, you know, and so. And the one thing I learned, though, in the various classes I've taken dealing with African American Studies, is that there is injustices and prejudices that happen to Black people across the world. It's not just, you know, this country where we're seeing terrible things happen. Like, there are things that happen to people all over. And so it just really opened my mind to the expanse of the African diaspora and what it all is, and wanting to know more about all of our present day experiences.
First, I want to provide you with some context, okay? A lens through which you can view this dense crash course you're about to get, because Lord knows they need to hire some more diaspora studies faculty so we can really break all this down. But I digress.
So when I first started out, my freshman year of college, I was a business communications major, And the plan was to move into entrepreneurship. I was doing that because I wanted to, my focus at the time was music, and I wanted to create more businesses within the music industry. And so at that time, I felt like I was forcing it, and it was just not in God's plan for me to take on that path. And eventually, I took 2 years off of college and figured that I liked acting. And with that, when I went back to school, I changed to theater being my focus, being my major. And it's actually been something I've been passionate about and working hard at, and it's something that I've grown to really, really love. Another thing with that is now I'm also thinking of double majoring in both theater and as an African American Studies major. So I think it's funny how I've gotten to this point about not only talking about or not only learning about my passion in theater, but also my passion as an African American woman and being able to talk about the rights of my people.
Toni Morrison. I love that woman. I first discovered her work after I graduated from high school.
Yeah, so for me, I always wanted to be an actor. Arts, I didn't know how. I didn't know how, my parents didn't know how, and so I kind of went through figuring out, okay, well, I'll do this for now, and then it wasn't until after college. Actually, when I was in college, I was planning to be a lawyer. And so I was going to apply to law school and all of that. And I did. And then I realized that, in the midst of being there, that I just really didn't necessarily want to do law per se. I wanted to be an advocate of some sort, but not through the legal system per se. And I realized, I want to advocate for people through telling their stories. Putting their points of view and their journey of life out for people to see, and so I've always been a studier of people and studying the reason people do the things they do. My degree is in political science and Spanish, and the political science, it's a social science and studying why people make the political choices that they make and all the factors involved in. And so I think in and of itself, I am a social scientist, and then acting is a manifestation of that experience, living in this life of, being social and dealing with people and the journey we take as individuals and what makes us make the decisions that we make and showing that, so that's for me the most joy, because with acting you're telling stories of many people's life experiences, telling different perspectives, and then for me it's fun. So
Chicago.
Word? I went to Whitney Young, but I stayed on the west side. Which part are you from?
Well, not Chicago, like suburbia.
Okay. So you're one of those.
One of what?
Yo, people that ain't really Chicago is always trying to claim Chicago.
I definitely do feel that people kind of look down upon me when I say that I am a theater major, especially starting out as a business communications major. I always kind of thought about what people think about me. I always worried about that kind of stuff. It looks better to say, oh, I'm in business, or oh, I'm a lawyer, or you know what I mean, in law school or whatever. And I feel like when people look at you, when you say you're a theater major, I feel like they're like, oh, they're not going to make a career out of that. Or, oh, the most they're going to do is become a teacher. But at this point, I've been on this faith walk, and I've found comfort in just trusting God and allowing Him to direct my path. And I honestly and truly feel like He's been directing me in this path. So honestly, at this point, I care less about what people think about me, about what people say about me. So at this point, that's how I've been handling it. I feel like if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And I feel like at the end of the day, if I don't make it where I want to be, I feel like God still has something planned.
And for me, it's definitely been a faith walk, and I was pursuing acting initially, and then I stopped, and I was like, what do you want me to do, Lord? What is it that you would have me to do? And I knew in my heart that I wanted to get a master's degree. I just didn't know in what. And because I was like, do I go back into the acting world? Do I pursue something else? And it was just made very clear to me. Like I believe it was like one of those like Caleb ones, like the sky opening up, and it's like God speaking to me, because it was just like I just knew in my heart. It was a playwright that I met, and she was like, yes, go get your master's in acting and do it now. Don't wait, do it now. And it was just something that was like, that's it. Like it literally felt like everything had gone silent, and like that's it. And God has walked me through this journey for these last 3 years, getting my master's, and you know, and I had the question as well, like, oh, you're getting your master's in acting. Oh, okay, so what do you want to do with that? Are you want to teach? I plan to act. Like, I want to perform. That is the goal. And I feel like we only have one life to live. You know, and my goal is to not do what other people want or think that I should do, but do what God is calling me to do. Because we all have a purpose, we all have a calling, and I do believe that my calling is art. Like that is the way that I'm supposed to contribute to the world, and so I think it's my duty, you know, to just, and I was like, I surrender. Like whatever path you take me on, I don't know exactly how this is going to happen, but I believe He's going to open doors that I'm supposed to walk through and close those that I'm not. And so I'm just remaining faithful in that, and really excited, you know, and having the chance to work on projects that are so meaningful like this one, you know, I'm just like, yep, confirmation.
Can I earn another ticket? Love to come back for a visit.